What's up, everybody? Rob Ferrari here, and I gotta say, sign is still looking pretty good. It's an older sign, but it's looking good. Speaking of older, this car, I said I'm gonna rent it for one more year. And I don't like to be optimistic, but the way the track record is, somebody's gonna crash it, it'll just get totaled. I don't have to worry about selling it. Never happened. But that doesn't mean it wasn't in another accident. So now what you're looking at right here is a 5-accident Ferrari 488, and nothing was significant enough to total it. There's a bunch of nonsense on it. Here is the current accident, and you can ignore the light over there because you can't really see it without the light. But the most notable you're going to see is right here. Customer claims that this car was parked, and you'll see right here. He assumes it was like a bicycle or something like that. I don't know if I buy that. But it comes all the way down this door, all the way to here. You sort of touch the whole side of the car here, except for the rear bumper. Maybe they missed the rear bumper. They did miss the rear bumper, good. But this whole thing has now been damaged, and it's going to require repair. And that will be accident number 5. You want to do a little chronology of what this car saw? Here you go. That's not good. None of this is good right now. This is not good. Well, that's what raw carbon fiber looks like. Front bumper marker light. Then obviously you see this doesn't line up here because this broke off the brackets. We're gonna need a wheel tire in the front. You can see the whole wheel is completely chewed up. We'll check the suspension. The one that lost traction and pushed destroyed the entire front suspension up here. And it looks like he obviously went over some grass as well, and then shed speed while he was going over the grass, put him back in the roadway. But you'll see here, this is going to be considered more frame damage, but it's the same frame damage that we had last time, in that this is, to me, frame of car. See, like this, all looks good, all looks good, all looks good. There's a little dent up here, but that's just from the wheel hitting it. This is what was, I want to say 6 weeks ago that this car went down, and I haven't received $1 yet. So all of these parts, everything, the $112,000 it's going to cost to repair, I may have to lay it out and get this repair started essentially without it, because spring is fastly approaching. So some accidents are worse than others, obviously, but this wasn't really a huge deal on this car. It's frustrating because it's like, it's still down until it can get repaired, but it's not a significant enough accident to total it out. Clearly, obviously, it's just a little bit of body work on that side, but it's very frustrating. Like, to think, the car drives good. It's a 5-accident car, but if you see a 5-accident car, you're like, ooh, 5 accidents. But it was never really like, I would take a 5-accident, like, not crazy damage car versus 1 frame damage accident. Because frame damage is bad. Anything that bolts onto the frame, you can bolt it on 100 times. It's like, think of it like a race car, right? Race cars replace body panels and everything all the time, but as long as like the chassis is straight, still a race car. Still does everything it needs to do. So it's a little frustrating, but this car is now, I mean, I'm going to sell it no matter what at the end of the season. But this is 48,000 miles on it now. I'll show you what a 48,000 mile 488 looks like. Pretty sweet. Nothing that immediately jumps out, but there's stuff that I notice. And the stuff that I notice, obviously, I'll show you, just so you can see what 48,000 miles of wear. So I just swapped the brake pads on this car because it just came due for brake pads. So it's got new front and rear brake pads, and I swapped the front shocks. They were a little bit softer than I wanted them to be. The stuff that you're going to notice here is the steering wheel's probably seen the worst, because it's seen a lot of COVID hand gel and just suntan lotion and everything else. So the steering wheel leather parts, obviously it's also something that can be fixed, is probably the most telling sign that this car has mileage. And then you're going to see this, which if you see wear like this seat here on anything with less miles, then you know it's a rollback, because you see how there's so many asses that rolled in and out of this seat. That's what you're gonna, those are really the telltale signs of a higher mileage car, regardless of what the odometer reads. But from 5 feet, everything looks great. The floor mats obviously are just a little bit discolored. These are actually the second set of floor mats. My original ones, I remember, were leather on the sides. So these are just little replacement floor mats. The dash holding up incredibly well, which is funny because the dash on my now 20,000 mile 458 is peeling to all hell, and this one, from all the times it's parked outside in the sun and everything like that, is wearing incredibly well. And even the passenger seat over here is going to show less wear because it sees less ass, because everybody rents a car, they're usually by themselves. See here, that's the only little spot. This side looks better, but this is what I would say would be consistent with a 20,000 mile Ferrari. But right now becomes the body shop's problem, because this has to all be repaired. But there you go, 5 accidents. And I mean, this is like the best and worst type of accident. This is never the first accident I have. Like, that's always an okay first accident because it doesn't look bad. My first accidents are usually like the worst. It's like somebody will total out a 2,000 mile car. When I don't care if a car gets totaled out is when it usually just will never get crashed ever again. We had that with our 360 that ended up having almost 100,000 miles on it that we started the company with. But that one burned itself to the ground, which, I mean, it was an insurance claim on our insurance because the customer didn't do anything wrong. They were driving, and it just, whether they were looking at the gauges or not, the car caught itself on fire, and that ended on the side of the Palisades Parkway. But that was a long time ago. But looks good. If you're interested in buying it at the end of the year now, I don't really care. I'll sell it whenever. I'm debating whether I keep my new F8 Spider as the Ferrari or I get a replacement 488 Spider. I think the 488 is the right price point for Rental Ferrari. The F8 at 400 plus is probably harder to price out and would be susceptible to more of a depreciation hit when I went to sell it. But Rob Ferretti, 5 accidents. You probably wouldn't have seen it if I didn't tell you, but I like telling you things. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. If you're interested, shoot me an email. Rob at superspeeders.com, Rob at gothamdreamcars.com. Just, if your offer doesn't start with a 2, don't even bother emailing me. If you offer me $125,000 for something that can roll through Mannheim and pick up over $200,000, not even gonna entertain it. There is a value to a quick transaction, but if it's significantly below wholesale, not even gonna bother. See you next time. Our Ferrari 360 is currently in flames on the side of the highway. Here, I think it's on the traffic
Now
report.
for traffic and transit on the ones. Here's Phil Gagan.
Watch out with the Palisades Interstate Parkway. It's closed southbound between exits 7 and 6E because of a car fire. Then they're working on a downed tree by 6S.